Welcome back, deep divers. Today we're going down the rabbit hole of a YouTube video that's all about time. The big question they tackle: does a future already exist?
Yeah, it's one of those head scratchers that people have been debating forever. What I like about this video is that they actually get into some serious physics stuff to try to figure it out. We're talking Einstein's relativity, even quantum mechanics.
So, to kick things off, they jump right into 4D spacetime. Can you give us like a quick breakdown for anyone who might not be familiar?
Well, imagine like time as another dimension.
Yeah.
Just like we've got length and width and height. You add time into the mix and you get what they call a block universe.
Okay.
In a block universe, all moments in time, past, present, future, they all exist at the same time. Kind of like a cosmic movie, where every single frame of the universe is already there from beginning to end, all at once.
So we're not talking about time as the straight line moving forward, but more like it's all part of this giant structure.
Right, exactly. Like this fixed, unchanging thing.
But wait, if every moment already exists, then what about free will? If it's all already there, how do our choices even matter?
Right. It's a huge question. Like, we feel like we're making choices, and those choices shape our future, but does that actually work if we're living in this block universe where everything is already set?
It's kind of mind-blowing.
Totally.
And then this video brings in Einstein's theory of relativity. How does that fit into all of this?
Okay, so relativity makes things even more complicated because, like, Einstein showed us that time isn't some absolute thing. It's relative to the observer. How fast you're moving actually affects how fast time passes for you.
Oh, yeah. Like that twin thought experiment, right? Where one twin blasts off in a spaceship near the speed of light, and when they come back to Earth, they're way younger than their twin who stayed put.
Yep, exactly. And the video uses a kind of similar thought experiment to explain this whole relativity thing. They want you to picture two spaceships. One is just hanging out in space. The other is zipping along almost at the speed of light. And they're both having a live video chat with you here on Earth. So whose now is the real now?
That's a good question.
Crazy thing is, they're all equally real, which means past, present, and future. They must all exist together in this space-time thing.
Whoa.
In fact, the video even says the difference between the past, present, and future is only an illusion. Even the universe is not evolving with time. Past, present, and future all coexist and are all real.
So basically what we think of as this flowing present, it's just an illusion. Everything's actually happening at the same time.
That's what this video is suggesting. But just when you think you're starting to get it, we got to throw another wrench into the gears.
Uh-oh, I already feel like my brain is doing backflips. What's next?
Now we got to talk about quantum mechanics. It's the science of how really tiny particles behave. And let me tell you, things get super weird down there.
Yeah, I remember a little bit about quantum mechanics from, like, science class. It was definitely a strange world.
Right. And the important thing is that quantum mechanics basically adds randomness and uncertainty to the whole picture.
Okay, how so?
Well, they give this example in the video, radioactive decay. So we know that radioactive atoms, they eventually break down, they decay, and we can figure out the probability of that happening within a certain time. But we can't say exactly when a specific atom will decay. It's a totally random process.
So we can't know for sure.
Nope. And the video even says, according to quantum mechanics, the essence of quantum particles is random.
Okay, so on the one hand, we have this idea of everything laid out in space-time, but then we have quantum mechanics saying that at the smallest level, things are totally random. How does that work?
That's the million-dollar question. But luckily, this video gives us a few possible ways to make sense of this whole crazy puzzle.
All right, I'm all ears. Lay it on me. What's option number one?
Option number one basically says that maybe the future isn't part of this 4D space-time block. It's like maybe space-time isn't this complete record of everything, but it's more like it's just the past that's been accumulated. Like imagine a snowball. As it rolls along, it picks up more and more snow, right? That's the past.
So it's not like the whole movie's already filmed. It's more like the movie's being made as we go along.
Yeah. And all these unpredictable quantum events, they're like happening right at the edge of that now, shaping what comes next.
Wow, that's wild. So option one, no fixed future, just the past and a present that's constantly making the future.
Right. What about option number two?
Okay, what's option number two?
Option two says that maybe, just maybe, we're wrong about quantum uncertainty. That even at the quantum level, everything is actually predetermined. We just don't know how to predict it yet.
So even those tiny particles are not actually random. It's just that we haven't figured out how to see the pattern yet. Okay, that's interesting. But like, didn't you say that scientists have done a ton of experiments showing that quantum stuff, IS, random?
Yeah, that's the problem. This view kind of goes against a lot of evidence, so it's not super popular with most physicists.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what about option number 3? This is where it gets really trippy, right?
Okay, so option 3 is where things get philosophical. This one says that maybe we just don't understand time at all, like maybe our whole concept of it is messed up. And to explain this, the video uses this really clever analogy with ants.
I love a good analogy. Tell me about the ants.
Okay, picture a bunch of ants living on a flat surface, right? They can only perceive 2 dimensions, like length and width. Now imagine a 3D object, like a sphere, passing through their world.
So to the ants, they wouldn't see a sphere. They would just see a circle appearing out of nowhere, then getting bigger, then shrinking again, and then disappearing.
Exactly. And the video says that WE might be just like those ants when it comes to time. We're stuck in our 3D way of thinking about it, and there might be a whole other dimension, this grander picture, that we're just not equipped to see.
It makes you wonder what we might be missing. So if we're like the ants, does that mean we're stuck? Can we ever understand time the way it really is?
That's a great question. And believe it or not, the video actually touches on a concept that just might offer a glimmer of hope.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. Tell me more.
It all has to do with Einstein's theory of relativity again. Remember how we talked about time slowing down as you get closer to the speed of light? Well, what if, and this is a big what if, we could actually go faster than the speed of light?
Wait, isn't that impossible? Like, isn't that one of the fundamental rules of physics?
You're right. As far as we know, nothing can travel faster than light. It's like the ultimate speed limit.
So where are we going with this?
Well, this is more of a thought experiment. The video is basically saying that if we could break the speed of light barrier, we might be able to jump around to different points in space-time. Like time travel, sort of.
Are you serious? Like hopping in a DeLorean and going back to the dinosaurs?
It's important to remember this is all theoretical stuff. We're in the land of what-ifs here. But the point is, our current understanding of time might be totally off. Just like those ants might eventually evolve to see that third dimension, maybe we can unlock a deeper understanding of time, too.
So maybe there's hope for us yet.
Exactly. It's all about keeping our minds open to possibilities, even the ones that seem crazy from where we stand right now.
Okay, so we've got this crazy idea of a 4D space-time block, the maybe possibility of exceeding the speed of light, and this whole ant analogy. My head is officially spinning.
I know, right? It's a lot to take in. But the cool thing about this video is that it doesn't try to give you simple answers. It just wants to make you think and question everything you thought you knew about time and reality.
And it's definitely working.
Right. It makes you wonder, like, what does all this mean for how we actually live our lives? If our choices don't change the future the way we think, then what's the point of anything?
Yeah, that's a heavy question. And I think that's where this video gets really interesting, because they actually have some pretty profound things to say about that very question.
They do. And that's what we'll dive into next time.
All right, listeners, get ready for part 2. We're going to unpack some seriously mind-blowing stuff. Stay tuned.
So this video, it doesn't just leave us hanging with all these crazy abstract ideas about time and space-time and all that. They actually bring it back down to Earth. Like, what does it all mean for U.S., for how we live our lives?
Yeah, that's what I keep coming back to. Like, if the future is already out there, already decided, what's the point of even trying to make choices?
Right. In the video, it totally gets that. They even say it straight up, like, our experience as humans is that things change, right? We make decisions, we see things happen differently because of those decisions.
It feels like we have some control over what happens next.
Exactly. Like even right now as we're talking, you could just decide, hey, I'm going to chuck this script, grab a guitar, and start singing. Might not be great for the podcast, but that choice would definitely have consequences.
You're right. People might be surprised, but it would definitely change things up.
Right. Your spontaneous concert would cause all these ripple effects. New experiences, people reacting, who knows what would happen next. And that's the thing, right? That doesn't really fit with this idea of a fixed space-time block where everything is already set in stone.
So how do you reconcile those two things? This feeling of free will, but also this possibility that everything's already predetermined in space-time?
Well, remember that one possibility we talked about? That maybe space-time isn't some fixed thing, but it's always growing, accumulating more now moments as we go along.
Yeah, the snowball analogy, right?
Exactly. That could explain why things feel like they're changing and why our choices seem to matter. It's like space-time is this giant canvas, and we're adding new brushstrokes to it all the time.
So it's not that the whole painting is already done, it's that the canvas itself is constantly being woven. And our choices are like choosing the colors and the threads.
I like that. That's a great way to think about it. And the video makes another interesting point. They say even if we accept this whole block universe idea, it doesn't mean we can actually know anything about the future. Like, it's not like we can see what's coming next.
No. That's like I can have all the episodes of my favorite show downloaded, but I can only watch them one at a time.
Right. I know the whole season is there on my hard drive, but I'm still limited to experiencing it episode by episode, just like we're limited to living in the present moment.
And that brings us back to those ants, right? Stuck on their 2D surface, only able to see a tiny slice of the bigger picture.
Yep. And the video is saying, we might be just like those ants when it comes to time. Maybe there's this whole other level of reality that we're just not equipped to see.
So is there any way to break free from this limited perception? Does the video offer any clues?
Well, they do touch on something pretty fascinating, even though it's super speculative.
Okay, hit me with it.
They bring up this idea of exceeding the speed of light, which, as we talked about before, is supposed to be impossible, right?
Yeah, the ultimate cosmic speed limit.
Right. But they're using it more as a thought experiment. Like, remember how Einstein showed that time slows down as you get closer to the speed of light?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what if you could actually go faster than light? The video suggests that maybe, just maybe, you could actually jump around to different points in space-time if you could do that.
Whoa, hold on. So are we talking actual time travel here?
Again, this is all super theoretical.
Yeah.
We're definitely in what-if territory here.
Okay, I get it.
But it's a cool thought experiment, right? It shows us how much we don't know about time. Just like those ants might one day evolve and see that third dimension, maybe we could evolve too and unlock some deeper understanding of time that blows our current minds.
I'd sign up for that evolution. So, okay, we've got space-time. We've got the possibility of time travel and the ant analogy. I feel like I need a nap after all this. But seriously, where does the video leave us in terms of actually understanding time and how we fit into it all?
Well, they don't really give us concrete answers. But they do challenge us to think about the meaning of our choices, even in the universe where the future might already be a done deal.
Okay, that's what's been bugging me this whole time. Like, if everything's already decided, what's the point?
I know, right? It's a big one. But the video, it actually has a really interesting take on that. They say even if our choices don't change the course of events, like on some grand cosmic level, they still matter because they shape our individual experience.
So even if the what is already set, the how is still up to us. Like how we react to things, the choices we make along the way, that's where our power lies.
Exactly. It's like they use this metaphor of watching a movie for the second time.
Oh, yeah, I get it.
You already know the ending, right? But that doesn't mean it's not still an enjoyable experience.
Right, because you can still get caught up in the story, feel the emotions, connect with the characters.
Exactly. It's not just about the plot points. It's about how you experience it, the feelings it brings up, all of that.
So it's like even if our lives are some kind of predetermined movie, the richness comes from how we choose to experience each scene,
Yeah.
how we react to what happens.
Yes. And the video really emphasizes that. It's like they're saying, hey, focus on the internal journey, the growth, the connections, all of that. That's what matters, regardless of what might be written in some cosmic script.
It's like our choices don't determine the destination, but they shape the journey itself.
I love that.
And it's that journey, all the ups and downs, the good times and the bad, that's what makes life rich and meaningful.
Beautifully said. And even if the future is fixed in some way, the video reminds us that we can't actually know what it holds, right? We're stuck in the present moment, always taking things one step at a time.
Like those ants again, never able to grasp the full picture.
Exactly. Which means that every moment has the potential to surprise us, to bring something new and unexpected. So even if the overall story is set, we're still writing the individual chapters as we go.
Man, this has been one wild deep dive. It's definitely made me think about time and choice in a whole new way.
It's been mind-blowing, that's for sure.
So what's the final thought? What's the big question the video leaves us with?
The video ends with this really simple but powerful question. If our choices don't shape the future in the way we usually think they do, then how should we live our lives? What does it all mean?
Whoa, that's a question I could ponder for a long time.
Me too. It really gets you thinking. And I think that's the beauty of this whole video. It doesn't give us easy answers, but it inspires us to keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep searching for meaning in a universe that's probably way more strange and wonderful than we can even imagine.
Absolutely. This deep dive has given us all a lot to chew on. A huge thanks to our expert for taking us on this mind-bending journey.
My pleasure. It's always fun to dive into these big questions and explore the mysteries of the universe.
And to all you deep divers out there, we encourage you to keep pondering those big questions. What does it mean if our choices don't shape the future the way we thought? How should we live our lives? Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those minds buzzing. All right, so we've explored all these mind-blowing ideas about time, from 4D space-time to the weirdness of quantum mechanics. And as we wrap up, I keep coming back to that final question from the video. If our choices don't shape the future the way we've always thought, then what does that even mean for how we live our lives?
It can definitely be a tough one to wrap your head around. Like, it really makes you question everything you thought you knew about free will and all that.
Yeah.
But I think this video, it actually has a pretty positive spin on it.
Okay, I'm curious. How can the idea that maybe our choices don't change the future be a good thing?
Well, they're saying that even if our choices don't change the big picture, like the overall course of events, they still really matter because they shape our own individual experience.
So even if the what is already set, the how is still up to us, like how we react to things, the choices we make along the way, that's where our power is.
Exactly. And they use this really interesting metaphor to explain it. Imagine you're watching a movie for the second time.
Okay, yeah.
You already know what's going to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean watching it again is pointless. You can still enjoy the story, feel the emotions, connect with the characters. It's not just about the plot. It's about how you engage with it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's the same with life. Even if we are all living out some kind of predetermined script, the richness comes from how we choose to experience it all, how we interpret things, how we respond, all of that.
So even if the big picture is fixed, the little details, the individual moments, that's where we find the meaning.
Exactly. The video is really emphasizing that. Focus on your own journey, your growth, your connections. Those are the things that matter, regardless of what might be written on some grand timeline.
It's like saying our choices don't determine the destination, but they shape the journey itself.
I like that. And don't forget, even if the future is fixed in some way, we still can't actually know what it holds.
Right. We're always stuck in the present moment, taking things one step at a time. Like those ants, only seeing a tiny slice of the whole picture.
Yep. Which means every moment can bring something new, something unexpected. So even if the overall story is already written, we're still writing our own individual chapters as we go along.
This whole deep dive has really changed how I think about time and choices. It's been mind-blowing.
It definitely makes you think.
So to wrap things up, what's the big takeaway from all this?
Well, the video leaves us with this really profound question. If our choices don't shape the future the way we've always assumed, then what does that mean for how we live our lives? It's a big one to ponder.
Yeah, it really is.
But I think that's the beauty of it all. This video, it doesn't give us all the answers. It just makes us want to keep exploring, keep asking those big questions, and keep searching for meaning in this incredible, mysterious universe.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Big thanks to our expert for guiding us through this incredible journey.
It's been my pleasure. It's always fun to dive into these big topics.
And to all our listeners, keep pondering those big questions. What does it mean if our choices don't shape the future the way we thought? How should we live our lives? Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those minds buzzing.